Stanislav Cifka winning Pro Tour return to Ravnica. Incredible scenes, incredible moments for that young man. BDM, what a performance, really.
Yeah, it was, Luis Scott Vargas may have gone 16-0 at Pro Tour San Diego. Stanislav Cifka fell 1 round short of that record in the Swiss, but I think I'd rather take my 1 loss during the Swiss rounds and go undefeated in the top 8 like he did. Look at the emotion on his face. Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
Just mental. It's been an incredible day, to be fair. We came in, obviously, with 8 as we do. Cifka began against Pedro Carvalho of Brazil. He won 3-1 against the Artifacts, the Robots player. But nonetheless, he was the first of 2 Brazilians in the top 8, so great achievement by Carvalho. Then we had a really sort of grindy scape shift against Blue-White. This was Li Shi Chan up against Eduardo Sajgalik of England.
Yeah, that was an interesting match. A lot of complicated, board states staring across the table at each other. Does he have it? Do you not have it? In the end, the scape shift deck was able to take it.
Bottom part of the bracket was kind of Jund-centric. We had a Jund mirror with 2 very big names. David Ochoa of the United States in his first top 8 against a 4-time top 8 man, Willie Adel, the second Brazilian. That went all the way. Ochoa was 2-0 down in that one, but it was the Channel Fireball man from the US who prevailed. And then that left the third Jund deck in the bottom half, which is your player of the year, Yuuya Watanabe.
This is Yuuya Watanabe playing against Kelvin Chu of Singapore.
Okay.
Kelvin was playing Infect.
Right.
And he thought it was a terrible matchup for him. He really just did not think he could win. He knew he was going to be on the draw in game 1.
Right.
Felt like that was a tremendous advantage to Kelvin Chu, and he felt like he was going to lose it in 5 games. But he broke serve.
In game 3.
In game 3, and was able to take the 5-game match. Yuuya Watanabe advanced.
So that took you to a semi-final featuring Cifka with his second Sunrise. Huge combo with Pyrite Spellbomb, or sometimes it turned out Grape Shot you to the face, up against Li Shi Chan, who prevailed over Sajgalik in 5. That was 3-1 to Cifka. Looked like it was going to get interesting, and then Cifka kind of closed the door.
And slammed it shut.
Yeah, pretty much. Bottom half of the bracket, at this point, again, you've got a Jund mirror because you've got Ochoa against Watanabe. And that was a really good one. Went 5 again. But Watanabe, your player of the year, he just doesn't lose at the moment.
And really sort of patient zero at this Jund trend we've seen in Modern. He was the guy who won with Jund at the Players' Championship, and the decks that we've seen out there have evolved off of his list.
Absolutely. So we arrive at a final. Cifka should be the big favorite, it turns out, against Watanabe, who doesn't really see how it can be done, not least because of Leyline of Serenity.
Leyline of Sanctity.
Sanctity, yeah.
Comes into play. I mean, but you know what? You feel pretty serene when you're sitting behind it. Your opponent's deck is full of, after sideboarding, Thought Seizes, Jund Charms, Slaughter Games. And you're like, I start with this in play and all of those cards are dead. We saw some 3- and 4-card mulligans, essentially, like virtual mulligans from Watanabe when the game started with a Leyline of Sanctity in play.
However, Watanabe made it really close. Cifka went off in game 1 and then didn't get there. So Watanabe led 1-0. Then it was 1-1, 2-1 to Cifka. Game 4, again, we're kind of right on the verge of thinking it's there.
He starts off with the Leyline of Sanctity.
Uh-huh.
He starts off with suspending a Lotus Bloom. It looks like everything's in place for him.
Yep.
But it doesn't quite get there in time. He can't find the reshape to find the cards he needs, and Bloodbraid Elf and Tarmogoyf and Deathrite Shaman and whatever else in the sort of motley crew that Jund has assembled just come rumbling across and force a game 5.
And in that game 5, eventually, and when we say eventually, there was some twists and turns along the way. Cifka begins a storm count. It goes up and up. It gets to 15. Watanabe's on 15. He grape shots for 15. That's not enough, it turns out, because Deathrite Shaman's active.
Yeah, so one of the things we had seen was Yuuya Watanabe was thought seizing himself.
Yeah.
He couldn't do anything else with these cards, so he decided that he was going to stock his graveyard with spells so that he could do damage with the Deathrite Shamans, or in this case, when he discarded a Kitchen Finks, gain some life with the Deathrite Shaman.
So that took him. So he stayed at 1 briefly And off we went again. But Cifka put all his eggs in one basket, and he knew how to get it done. And in the end, the man from the Czech Republic, phenomenal performance, only one loss in the weekend, 18-1 across 3 days against 400 of the best players we've ever seen.
Occupies the first of 3 Pro Tour champion seats at next year's Players' Championship.
And who will be defending that championship next year?
Yuuya Watanabe, so we could see a rematch of these 2 gentlemen at the Players' Championship. Be very exciting.
It's been an incredible weekend. Pro Tour Return to Ravnica debuted, of course, the Return to Ravnica set. Plenty of cards from there showed up in Modern. We had 6 rounds of draft, plenty of great drafting action. Cifka, by the way, of course, 6-0 in draft. He can't just play a combo deck. 2 draft decks, terrific.
And you can learn some lessons from him. At least one of his drafts I know is in the draft viewer. You can watch. You can see what he did in his seat. I saw some people on Twitter talking about it, and they said, this guy knows what he's doing. Look at his draft.
Absolutely. In the end, it all came down to the second Sunrise combo, eggs, basket, 1. From Pro Tour Return to Ravnica, until we meet again, thanks so much for being with us. For Brian David-Marshall, the Pro Tour historian, I'm Rich Hagon, saying bye.